Right, good morning. Welcome to today's lecture, where we are going to be continuing with our view on HTML-based design. And today we're going to be looking at a simple but rather important concept within HTML design, and it is called lists. So basically, we're going to focus on four types of lists, which is the unordered list, the ordered list, a defined list, and the concept of nesting lists. So when we look at lists from a layman's perspective, we're saying lists provide some form of order when it comes to item objects within a web page. They provide an order that may be weighted in the sense of 1, 2, 3, 4, or that may be unweighted in the sense of bullets. Either way, it creates a structure that allows you to take note of what you need to do, or what you need to read, or what comes first in terms of priority. So to get us started, we're going to look at the unordered list. As the name suggests, the unordered list marks items within a browser without some form of ordering. It specifically gives you structure, but does not allow you to give weighting to your particular objects. Right. So, lists can be unordered. And basically, when we look at unordered lists, we're saying they do not possess any form of weighting. So in layman's terms, we can think of unordered list as bullet types. The same bullet types we've encountered in Microsoft Word or any other word processing program can also be implemented within an HTML document. And to a greater extent, when we want more styled bullets, we can then install add-ons onto our server environment so that we can have more stylish unordered lists. So if we look at the page that's in front of us right now, we can already see that we have two types of unordered lists. For starters, we have the square and we have the, what's this shape? Let's create a list of 5 food items that we love to eat in 3 minutes. So we also have a type of list that is known as a definition list. Basically, when you look at a definition list, you're saying it is a list that consists of one or more definition terms. So within each list, you have a term and the definition of term. For example, think of a dictionary. When you look up a word in a dictionary, you have the word, right? And then underneath the word in an indent manner, you have the definition of the word. And this is exactly the same. When you create a definition list, the tags that you use change from ULOL to DL. And the LI tags change from LI to D what? DT, right? So you now have 3 tags that you are using. You're using the DL to signify where the list starts and ends. You're using the DT to signify the term that you are defining. And you're using the DD to signify the definition of the term. Do you understand? If we take a look at our example, the first tag is our DL tag, and our DL tag is showing us where the list is starting. Then we go to our DT tag, which is giving us our first object, which is HTML. Then we're going to the DD tag, which is giving us the definition of the first object, hypertext markup language. When we move on to the second word, dog, we call it in the DT. We call the DD to define a dog. And lastly, we close the definition list. Are we together? This will make more sense once we move on to our brackets. Right. So, we said we call the DL tag to signify where the lists begin and end, right? Inside our DL tag, we call the what? The DT, right? And after the DT, we call the what? The DD, right? Say, for example, we have a term called tests, and that would be the output. Test is the term, in-class assessment is the definition. Are we together? Right. I want us to add 2 terms to our list. Just 2 terms to the list that we've already created, so that we get an understanding of this particular part of the exercise. Moving on. So, apart from our defined lists, we also have nested lists. When we look at nested lists are created by inserting an ordered list or defined list inside of each other. For example, notice the example on the board. Here we have a what? An ordered list, right? And the unordered list is ending there. But inside the unordered list, we have a what? An ordered list. Does that make sense? Notice how the first list can be item 1, second item 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the last item is item 8. The lists exist within each other, hence nested. Does that make sense? So, if you recall this exercise that we did, I want us to redo this exercise, but using nesting. Remember, we said there are ways of doing things, right? You get more marks by nesting rather than doing it linearly. So, I want us to nest this exercise in the next 2 minutes. Right. We said nesting was putting a list inside another, right? The start of our lists is of ordered type, right? And then we're going to have, for progress sake, let me just write something that doesn't make sense. List item 1, right? List item 2, right? And then we're going to have another list, right? Today, blah, blah, blah. The bolded aspect of it, A, B, C, etc. Right? And within this another list type, right? We're then going to continue with our list type, right? We'll start from 3, and then finally we'll create an another list, give it a type, and we'll close. That will create the output. Yes, and you thought I was going to give you the answer.